Welcome to the Neighborhood Mic, conversations from the heart of the community, where the stories are real, the voices are powerful, and the work is happening right here in our neighborhoods. Brought to you by Safe and Sound.
On this mic, we amplify voices that don't always get heard. We tap into real issues and we highlight the people that's doing something about it. Because at Safe and Sound, we don't just talk community, we connect it and we champion it.
So whether you're tuning in to learn, to grow, or to be inspired, you're at the right place. Pull up a seat, tap in, and let's pass the mic.
Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of the Neighborhood Mic Podcast. I am your host, Trell Johnson.
I'm your co-host, Tony Harris, and we have the amazing privilege to speak with a renowned pillar in the Milwaukee community, Mrs. Samantha Collier.
Thank you for having me on the first ever One of One podcast. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We just want to start this episode. First of all, I want to give you your flowers, right? I did hear a lot about the event you just had, and we're going to go a little bit everywhere with this conversation, but I want to start there because it's recent, it's fresh, and I just want you get this opportunity to tell the people what just happened not too long ago.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for being here and cultivating this space, right? We just had our 13th annual Paint the City Teal Day, which is huge. Before I even get there, let's just talk about the acronym SAAM. We are in the month of SAAM, which is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. My name is Sam. So when you talk about purpose, we're really living it, thriving in it, creating atmospheres where other survivors change themselves into thrivers through healing. So we just had our 13th annual Paint the City Teal Day on 4/2. And when I say 4/2, because it's a proclaimed day, which means it will be 4/2 forever. And we are very grateful for the proclamation that we earned by Mayor Barrett in 2019. So when we speak of starting an initiative right here, grassroots in the city of Milwaukee, that's what we did with Paint the City Teal Day. So for the last 13 years, we have been wrapping teal ribbons with trees. We've even used real paint one year. This past Thursday, again, for the 6th year, we have been the organization that teals out the entire downtown Milwaukee on April 2nd during the month of SAM. And yes, I said 6th year, which is huge. Because it's not a lightweight. There's not anything little about starting something that's never been done. And again, I say about Team Teal 365 Inc., we are not just a survivor-led nonprofit, we're a God-led movement.
I love that.
That's unstoppable. So yeah, those are just what we just happened on Paint the City Teal Day. Not to mention, we always recognize a Thriver of the Year. This year, we recognized Nancy Yarborough, who is, again, one of the leading members in the anti-violence movement. So again, we're really big on shining the light. We're really big on our partnerships and collaborations. And again, Paint the City Teal Day is a local initiative for the month of SAM, which we're really grateful that we started because it's all about having the conversation. People don't even know that the color teal is the color for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which is the entire month of April.
That was going to be my next question. Like, do the color have to do? What did they think about that? Like, where did that come about, the color teal for that?
Definitely. And also, I would like to tell yourself and your listeners, this year is the 25th annual anniversary of Paint the City Teal Day nationally. Wow. Our government, over 25 years ago, declared SAM to be a month of awareness. So we're in the 25th year anniversary. So it's really, really important. So I was really intentional when naming my organization.
Okay.
Making sure that teal was in the ingredients. And also 365. Because again, there's not one day.
It's every day.
It's every day that thrivers have to thrive, you know? And when you think about the numbers and the statistics and all the things, it's very rare you see people that look like me and you that's in these positions that has the power of authority to help. And that's what we do with Team Teal 365 Inc.
So of course I know you have a story, but like, what made you want to get out here and do this work in this way? Because I've been in the nonprofit world for a long time, but I've never seen nobody attack this strong and touchy thing for real.
Definitely, and that's exactly why God chose me, because it wasn't here. It was not a spear until I got up and was that somebody. You know, I think somebody always says, when is somebody going to do something to change the community? And as of tomorrow, it will be our 18th year anniversary with Team Teal 365, which is now an Inc. Started as a LLC. So that's what it's about. You got to be the change. You have to know that there's something in you. And that's why I always tell young people, and I always tell adults too, when it comes to the conversation in the month of SAAM, there's some amazing initiatives from Denim Day to this week is Victims' Right Week. But when we speak to the power and the impact, we have to talk about the initiative that we started, which is now an international wave around Paint the City Teal Day. It's amazing. Like, I don't know what else I would be doing, you know? And I'm grateful that I thrived to this side because I wasn't always this powerful. I didn't always look at myself with this worth. I didn't always have this strong voice, but I always knew I was supposed to do something.
For someone, that's beautiful, actually. You know, for someone who wants to support your initiative, but is afraid to speak up, right? Or because it is a sensitive topic, what's one place they could start at to help you and your movement?
Definitely. Well, the first thing is to know that we believe you. All the listeners that's out there right now, and whenever you tap into this One of One podcast, we believe you. Those 3 words are very, very powerful.
It is.
And we're on all social media outlets. But beyond that, come to some of our events. We have over 3 other events going on throughout the month of SAAM. We have the Save the Date. All you have to do is follow us on any social media outlet or follow me, Samantha Collier. Because the biggest thing you can do is get into the atmosphere of shift, of change. Sometimes you got to be around different to see yourself as different. And we have a real big thing in society of making people feel shameful for thriving. And I think that's important. Resilience matters. If you're someone out there that was abused at a young age and now you're an adult, I want you to know you're resilient. I want you to know you made it. So it's things like that that people don't know that keeps them in the dark because you have to come into this marvelous light and we have it for you.
Doing this work, knowing that it's touchy and not just hard to attack, really, because people not just finna come out and say, oh, this happened to me, this happened to me. How do you deal with people that's scared to reach out? Or how do you reach those people that's not really out verbally about what happened to them in their life?
Yeah, I think what I'm doing right now is an example of that. Letting people know that you're safe, how to come into the spaces and just be you. Because there's no one trick that's going to work with every survivor. That's just like when we work with male survivors. You know, 1 in 5 men will be or has been sexually assaulted before the age of 18.
Wow.
And 1 in 3 women will be or has been sexually assaulted before the age of 18. And these are stats that anyone can find on rain.com. But I need people to understand those are just statistics. Everyone does not report their assaults, especially when it comes to our Black and brown men. They don't, especially when it comes to our Black and brown women. I'm just one who never reported my domestic violence or sexual assault, but I am one today that accommodates people to court cases. I am also one that speaks on 71 counties as an expert witness for domestic violence and sexual assault. So you have to create lanes where survivors and victims feel like they can make it. I'm not a dinosaur, but I am one to say my story is millions of people's stories. And we just want them to know that they matter. And we'll find ways to do it. I don't have like a magic wand that I throw around, but I do leave people feeling better when they leave our care. And that's not just a Samantha Collier executive director. It's in the foundation of Team Teal 365, which will be here when I'm dead and gone, you know. Team Teal will be here to look after my son, Africa, and his kids' when I'm not here anymore, because we started something that was never done. And we created a sphere, not just for cultural specific organizations. Like I said, I'm doing judicial work. We're being called into courtrooms, not just as an advocate, but as an expert witness advocate, which is very, very important, especially on a cultural specific level, especially in a very segregated state like Wisconsin.
I wanna go into supporting, right? Because this is something different, of course. I never really this the first organization I know that does this type of work. But you connected with my big brother, Ajimu Butler, right?
Definitely.
How and shout out to Hilda Hood, man. That's my guy.
Right here, rocking the wristband.
For sure.
That's my family.
What do support looks like? Like, say if we wanted to come help, what would I do? How would I get connected? How can I get involved in helping Teal?
Yeah, again, show up, post our events, be in our presence, because men must be in this anti-violence movement.
Right.
That's not a joke. That's not anything light. And my brother Ajamu is my brother. We're present. Actually, Ajamu was one of our first thrivers when we became nonprofit in 2021, and not as a survivor of SA, but as an ally to me.
Right.
As a safe space for me, as a brother that was there no matter what, and not my blood brother, because I actually have two brothers, Robert and Fred. But when I speak on Heal the Hood, that's my village brother. We've been together. I've been at every Heal the Hood, and today, as of May 30th, 2026, for the 14th annual Heal the Hood, Team Till are actually sponsors.
Oh, wow.
We're not just vendors. No, because this soft life is real, and you have to show your people that you support them. And again, Heal the Hood has also been sponsors of Paint the City Teal Day for the last 9-10 years. So it runs deep. It's not just a photo op for me. Heal the Hood Milwaukee, we heal the homes, we heal the hearts, and we heal the hoods. And that's just a real thing, so it's not light. It's never light for us. It's always heavy, because we know the mission and kingdom work that we carry. So when I talk about my brother Ajamu is serious, and we're creating movements, international movements. So we're going to always be present at Heal the Hood Milwaukee. We're going to always partner together as far as Team Teal 365 Inc., along with Heal the Hood Inc., because we're a dynamic duo. Ajamu and I have done things all over the state collectively, which is really important, because people need to see that and know that. So yeah, make sure you mark your calendars for May 30th for the 14th annual Heal the Hood.
I want to ask a question about that. How? Let me get this question right. You know Ajamu.
Mm-hmm.
You've been around Heal the Hood. You said you started this as an LLC.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have that conversation about how did you turn it from LLC to nonprofit, because you and Ajamu is building something, and that's something that is a lot of people not really doing that. I was just having a conversation with one of my guys. He was like, everybody's not builders. Everybody's not meant to build things. You build until 365. That's nothing. That's not uncommon. So explain, how did you transfer from LLC to nonprofit?
Well, again, like I said, Team Teal 365 is God-led, right? So one of the first things I did was I never stopped. I never stopped believing in what God put in me, even when the doors got slammed. I never stopped believing. Like, again, we're in all 72 counties. So this is just Milwaukee, where it's very populated with the Black culture. But I went from an advocate to an executive director, and it wasn't a light walk. I took the long way. I created an LLC, and I was one of very few executive directors up until very recently to get a salary. Yeah, let that sizzle. And I never stopped. I never stopped working. I've fed people when I need to eat. I've clothed people when I needed to put some on my back. So it is different for me. And it's also different for my brother. But again, I come from where gravel don't grow. I'm from the west side of Chicago. So when you say to me, what does this mean to you? It means everything to me to create something and stick with it. No, this isn't a one-trick pony. And I'm just humble. I'm just a humble servant. And people can do all their GTP chatting and all their data collection, but we've been here and we've really stuck it in the ground and made an imprint around thriving as an atmosphere, not a shameful way to look at survivors, especially in the Black community.
Yeah.
So it isn't anything I say. Sometimes just being in the presence of what's new, people come alive. We're just not at schools and doing nonprofit connections. No, we're inside of churches. I've been at Evolve. And people have been falling out and giving me money, blessing us, because they never knew that they can see somebody talking about something that they didn't know they can get through. So, and I use that as an example because I'm a member of Unity Gospel House of Prayer. So I already go to a church. But I was called to Evolve from God as a resource. And when I tell you, He showed up in that space. And it's important for especially us to understand that this thriving and healing is every day. So I wouldn't be right in a cubicle. I tried that. I tried corporate America. It doesn't fit me well. They actually fired me and requested that I focus on Team Teal 365. That was a very long time ago. And I'm grateful that they did that. But that's where I learned about profit sharing and other things of that nature.
Love that.
Beautiful. Something you said really stuck out to me, taking that leap of faith. Because as you said, in our communities, a lot of times people don't speak out on the abuse that we go through, right? We suppress that and it bottles up and that's how we become a living volcano, right? So what motivated you to share your testimony with the people?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think the biggest reason is because people need to hear it. There's a lot of people right now that's probably going to listen to this podcast and almost kick the chair, almost gave up on themselves, but didn't even know that this was the month of SAAM. And they might not be a survivor of sexual assault, but life can be violent.
That's right.
So sometimes just to hear that hope is there, just to hear that there's someone that started something that wasn't here and now is internationally known, and I'm Black.
Love that, man.
And I'm in a Team Teal 365 dress. And I'm soft. And it doesn't have to be so aggressive. And why does sexual assault have to be looked at as a negative thing? It happens in just about every household. So until it becomes a conversation like healthy relationships and like triggers and mental health, I'm not going to never stop talking about it, because I want it to be normal that we talk about honesty, that we talk about, yes, I was hurt. And it wasn't my fault, because people carry that for a very long time. And then they meet people like me, or they just see our events, or they see a video, or they see some of our members, and they say, wow, I can get to the other side. And you can.
That's right.
And it's an individual walk, but we are just one that don't push people down. And we'll never be an organization that wants people to come and cry on camera. You want to know why? Because it happened to me. It happened to me a very, very, very long time ago, where people got literally paid over $90,000 off my tears.
Wow.
And I said to myself, that will never happen under my watch. So whenever survivors, thrivers, any human come into our space, you're going to leave better. And we never want to eat on your trauma, because I've seen it happen to me. But I got to the other side where it's light, and I'm not going back.
It's beautiful.
I want to ask a question for the anybody, man, male, female, woman, who's listening to this and they like, man, I went through that. I want some help. How can they? What do you have a program? Like, how do they get involved on the other journey of it, like the mental health, and what would they do to contact you to get that help from Teal?
Definitely. So if you're someone that isn't connected with us, right? We're connected with many ways, from high schools to colleges to America Works to here. We're inside of this studio, but contact us on our website, teamteal365.com, or follow us on all social media outlets, Team Teal 365. We're everywhere, and we will bring you into the sphere, and if you're listening right now, like I stated earlier, we believe you. You don't have to give us blood. You don't have to fill out paperwork. Just show up. You don't have to say anything, just be in the space. And then we can just take it from there, right? And understand it wasn't your fault. Even adults, they carry it for so long, and then they don't know how the vulnerability shows up in unhealthy relationships, or i.e. a trafficking situation, so things can go really left really quick. So just know that there's resources here for you that understands. And if we can't help you, we have large arms, and we can get you connected to where you need to be, so you can have that healing journey. Even if it's not with us, we know other organizations and other partners that can definitely step in. So we're really present and ready for you whenever you're ready for it.
I want to ask this personal question. I did a little research. You the youngest of four?
I am.
Okay, so doing this type of work, right? And I don't know, do you share your personal story publicly? Okay. How did your family back you during that season you had, when you told them, when you shared about it? And two, I don't know if you do or not, but in me that I see now, I don't think you lead with that story, right? I think you let your work show why you doing it, and then the story come after. And I want to salute you for that, because it shows me that you really, that happened to you, but you leading with the work. And why do you do it like that?
Because so many don't. And we do a lot of things that don't nobody do but us. And I'm just grateful that God chose me and called me. Like you said, I'm the youngest of four. So I come from nothing but entrepreneurs. And before I even start writing, I used to write in the MATC Times. And MATC Times is one of the biggest newspaper outlets in the country, actually. But I started writing op-eds, finishing my bachelor's degree over there at MATC. And that's where I even learned that Sexual Assault Awareness Month was a thing. This is a very long time ago. Again, I stated that SAAM is the 25th anniversary. But make a long story short, I sat my family down before I wrote my first article. Because again, I was molested as a child and raped as an adult. You know, I was raped when I was 27. And I sat them down and I just told them what I was about to write about. I didn't judge them. I didn't tell them anything. And again, that was over 18 years ago. You know, so I'm grateful that I continue to grow and I continue to give God his glory. And I also know my calling and my assignment. When I went to UW Parkside, I knew I was speaking in front of millions of people. I actually told my family that. I never knew what I was going to speak about. I never knew. This was early 2000s. But I did know I had a power inside of me that God wanted to get out. And today is 2026. So I am grateful to continue doing the work and the assignment that was put on my life to all the regions of the world. I will never stop talking about what I'm supposed to be talking about. And I love my family. And my family, they've been sponsors since 18 years of Team Teal. From LLC, as a nonprofit. My brother Fred Collier, he does amazing work with his businesses. My sister, my mom, you know, I'm just cut different. And I'm grateful that I don't bring shame. I bring legacy. And again, that conversation with my family was important. People don't do that enough. They don't be honest enough because I'm not the only thriver in my family, but I am one that is vocal about it. And I wanted them just to know what I was about to do. And I've never stopped being about it. And I definitely know I will never stop being about it. And my family, they support me as they should because I made it to the other side.
I'm happy you did. Just having that support of your family, like, to be that bold, I don't know what age you did it, but to be that bold and sit your people down like, man, this what happened to me, and them actually supporting you. Because I know personal stories of and they like, you lying. Imagine hearing that.
Yeah. We work with a large amount of individuals that hear that every day. That's why we lead with, we believe you.
I love that.
Because, and especially, you know, not to just keep it cultural specific, but especially in the Black and brown communities, we have to create safe spaces because a lot of people that aren't believing, the children or the adults, are also victims of violence because nobody believed them. So let's have a little bit of grace and a whole bunch of mercy because there's a lot of people that are unhealed, pointing fingers and blaming and shaming victims. So we don't judge though. All I say is understand everyone isn't healed and a lot of people aren't very vocal about it. It has a lot to do with my mental health. I'm really big on therapy. I've had a therapist going on like 6 years. So I'm not just out here pouring from empty cups, right? I stay full. And if I'm not full, I won't attend. It's just that simple. Because a lot of people pour empty. So we need to not do that. I pour full. That's why I stay full and I stay up and I stay grateful. Whenever anybody asks me, hey, Sam, how you doing? I'm grateful. That's all that has been my response. And I teach that to my 7-year-old son, because as long as you're grateful, you can't be ungrateful. No matter what season, no matter what phase of life you're in, just be grateful. You know, we so easy to be ungrateful because it's not our turn or it's not this or it's trauma on type of trauma. No, ma'am. No, sir. Just be grateful that we're present, you know, and that's a big part of my light that I carry.
I also, on the research I did, I heard that you say you poured a lot of people, but you also said a lot of people pouring to you. Talk about how important that is, especially doing the work you're doing and the woman you are in the community.
Yeah, I think it's really big. You stated earlier about my family. One of my other blessings is that I have a village. You know, I have a family which I'm cut from, which is my Colliers. I love my family. I love us down and long and strong from the west side of Chicago. But I also have a village that was created here in the city of Milwaukee. One of my sisters are actually here today in the studio with me, traveled all the way from North Carolina because she's one of the panelists for our second year Thrivers panel. You know, Anika Leonard, a person that's done some amazing work in the city of Milwaukee that pours back into me and pushes me, right? So that's really, really important. I have an amazing sisterhood. I won't name all of them, but a village is really important, especially because I'm complicated. I might, I know, it's a lot going on, but when I'm vulnerable, that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Because I pour. I have an assignment.
Right.
So even if my leg hurt, you wouldn't know. But Anika might. Because there's certain spaces where I'm safe. Because I carry a lot and I have to hold a lot. So it isn't, I'm not gonna be everybody's cup of tea. But I'm gonna serve where I need to serve. And I have those that cover me. I need covering and protection in the work that I do. Because I'm just not working with survivors and victims. Like I said, I'm in the judicial system, which is huge for a Black woman of my caliber to be an expert witness, not just to educate on the topic of what survivors do, but I'm educating attorneys, district attorneys, judges on this topic of sexual assault and domestic violence, which is really, really, really big. So I have to always elevate. This is a soaring atmosphere that I walk in. It's like eagles and chickens. I used to walk too with chickens, but being an eagle, I have to be around other eagles because they have to keep me flying. So it's just a maturity thing. So yes, I definitely have a sisterhood. I definitely have a village that keeps me up, because without that, I don't know where I would be, but I'm grateful that I have those in my life that push and pull me, that keep me accountable, that proofreads things, that'll say something that I don't need to say, or go to an event that I don't need to attend, or don't allow me to go to any places without them knowing. Because they have to, I have to be protected. The Pharisees killed Jesus. Anyways, so I need my people to protect me no matter where I go. They don't allow me to go to many places alone. Not nowhere, to be completely honest, which I'm grateful for, because people can be cruel and people can be negative, especially when you bring light into any atmosphere.
Wow. You said you had a strong support system, right? What are some of with you being in this field for so long, what are some of the main barriers that you see preventing people from actually getting help?
One of the main barriers would probably be like access, right? Like I said, sometimes people aren't connected with the resources. That's why we've been a vendor now at America Works, which is one of the W-2 government funded agencies, right? So we're connected with some of the most vulnerable parents in the community, right? And then we also, direct services at local high schools and also universities. We're at Transition High School, which some would say one of the most vulnerable schools in the city of Milwaukee. But then we're also doing direct services to the staff that's working directly with those survivors, right? So I think that's really important to make sure that they know that it happens, and for people to share good things that Team TL 365 is doing and other initiatives as well. As much as we share rails of this is how I get dressed, we need to start sharing more of this is how you start an initiative.
I love
this
that.
is how you stand up for people. This is what a sisterhood looks like. I'll give you an example. Just this past weekend, maybe 4 to 5 of my really good sisters did an amazing event. It was called Milwaukee Moms of Milwaukee. I was not on the ticket, but many of my friends were either keynote or panelists. Guess where I were? In the audience.
Supporting.
Clapping along, because that's what matters. We need to get away from the I. And that's the difference of things within Team TL 365 Inc. We're always clapping our hands and standing up for other people. We just also love and respect when it's reciprocal, because we also understand when it's not you. That's why we're humble and we're graceful, because I definitely understand everyone that claps for you is not excited for you. Some people that clap for you are mad that it's not them. So you have to have a level of discernment, and I'm grateful that I have that. And again, I just go all the way back to Team Teal. Definitely, Team Teal 365 is survivor-led, but first of all, we're God-led.
Ooh, that was my
because
next
I don't
question.
play around. What I'm doing is real serious. This is not light work. I'm against principalities. I'm fighting bills. I'm talking with judicial individuals. And we're also sponsors for Heal the Hood Milwaukee. So don't play with us ever. We're dual. We're everywhere we need to be. And that's the part of being, authentic in your calling. It's not going to be, I'm going to always show up in J. Riley earrings. I'm going to always show up rocking Melissa Blue. I'm going to always show up doing what none other does. Because I was cut to do that and to amplify us. It's not just about I will never eat off of my purpose. Never. That's not what I'm here for. And I'm grateful for that.
First of all, so this is a good first episode for sure. You just did something. You shouted out the earrings. If I think her husband is Reggie Riley.
Definitely.
That's my guy. Melissa Boo. That's
Definitely.
Gat.
Definitely.
You real connected.
And Heal the Hood. Yeah. It ain't just on me, it's in me.
Right.
And it's going to always be us. And it's going to always be stuck.
That.
Because it's not always about I. And that's the difference between us and them. Whenever it's us, it's always going to be us. Because it's God-led, not man-led. And I'm going to always amplify us. Because no one else does.
And I gotta have a question for this. First of all, you go to Locke Church. That's shout out Locke.
Marlon Locke, come on.
How important, right? How important is God to you?
Man, I need God like fish need water. I ain't gonna hold you. Listen here, and I'm also a server in my church. I serve real good and real long and real strong over there at Unity Gospel House of Prayer on 12th and Vine, where it's good in the hood.
Man.
Shout out to Marlon Locke, my pastor, and Lady K. But it's so important. I run around the church every Sunday. It's people that meet me and tell me we go to church together because I wouldn't know. I be so tapped in with my father. Anika will tell you, my son will tell you, and he pays his own tithes. He's 7.
Wow.
I have a responsibility, and it is not to be liked because the Pharisees killed Jesus. And I keep saying that because he got the people, not just the thieves in the street. But, Jesus was able to get the CEOs and the presidents and all of them. And when we walk into space, we amplify and we shift energies. So God is really important to me. And also, I am a church. I'm a walking church. I am a walking vessel. Everywhere I go, I amplify him. So my church home, I shout out to them real heavy. I love them long and strong. But I walk in a church. I carry a good word. I walk in the good word. And that's why I serve at a church that gets it. I was asked to come to Unity back in 2020 by my real good girlfriend, Rashida Butler Jackson, who is also the CFO of Team TL 365 Inc. But anywho, I digress. But Rashida invited me to Unity to speak on the month of SAAM, and I've never left. Yeah, me and my son both got baptized together, and I continue to be a leader in my church and also in my community as a disciple. Like in real life, I be fishing. Every day I be fishing for souls, just getting them closer to my Father, because at the end of the day, it ain't about SAAM. It's not about Team TL 365. It's all about what God can do because he's the ultimate healer. So yes, I'm going to always amplify my faith because that's what got me here. That's what got me here, not sacrifice. Obedience and patience will get you places that sacrifice and money could not.
Amen.
Yes. Prime example of how faith can amplify our works. I see it in you, sister. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So, in closing, first of all, thank you again. You done raised the bar now. So, whoever next, make sure you holding it down because she did her thing.
Big shoes to fill.
In closing, what is one thing you would want to leave with the people that's dealing with this month? Anything that's going on where they not speaking up, they not expressing themselves in ways that they should because they scared, because they don't want to be looked on as like a victim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would tell them, first, again, I say, we believe you. And just know that this journey is 365. And it's a journey. It's not a sprint. It's not a race. It's not comparing traumas. This goes in stages, First you're a victim. And then you find the ways of identifying, okay, something happened to me. And then you're a survivor. And then you say to yourself, okay, I got through that. I got through whatever violent act that happened to me. How can I be a better me? And then you get into thriving. Because then you figure out, you know what? I don't have to be this violence. I don't have to be a violent space. I don't have to self-sabotage myself. But again, it happens in stages, and it wasn't your fault. And we're on all social media outlets. You can always shoot us an email, allthingsteamtl365@gmail, allthingsteamtl365 on all of social media outlets. And also understand, you made it. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you made it. Now, what that next step looks like, we are here to help. But just remind yourself, you made it. And you give you grace. Don't look for nobody else to give you what you can give yourself. You pat yourself on your back. You say thank you for not crashing out. You say thank you didn't go to that party. You say, thank you, you didn't answer that text message. And I pray and hope that you find peace no matter where you get it from. And we're always available. And like I stated earlier, we believe you. And remember, I used to be you. I used to be you, real violent, real angry. But you just grow and give it to God. And again, we're here, Team TL 365 on all outlets. And thank you again for just listening. Thank you for sticking on. Thank you for surviving and thriving. Whoever you are, you have made it to the other side. And don't let nobody take that from you.
Wonderful. Once again, y'all, thank you for joining us for the first episode of the Neighborhood Mike podcast. I'm your host, Troy Johnson.
Co-host Tony Harris.
And thank you. Please come back for the next episode.